Did Taylor Swift really say, "You beat me to the altar" at Selena Gomez's wedding? That one line has been echoing across social media like wildfire, reposted, re-edited, and twisted into countless viral clips. But here's the thing. The truth behind that headline is a lot more interesting than it first appears. Because while the tabloids were busy painting Taylor as the attention-stealing bridesmaid, what actually happened tells a completely different story. One that reveals how carefully she handles the spotlight, even in her most personal moments. You see, the internet loves to turn every Taylor Swift moment into a headline. One second, she's celebrating her best friend's love story, and the next, she's accused of making the entire wedding about herself. But according to Taylor, that couldn't be further from reality. And when she finally sat down on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon to set the record straight, fans got a glimpse of something deeper. Not just a rumor denied, but a quiet, powerful moment that showed exactly who Taylor is when no one's watching. Because as she put it herself, "I did not make it about me." When Taylor Swift walked onto the stage of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon on October 6th, she already knew what was coming. The audience was cheering, the lights were bright, but the biggest spotlight wasn't on her new song or her upcoming tour. It was on a rumor. Jimmy didn't waste time. With his signature grin, he leaned forward and asked the question that had been floating around for days. "So, did you really say to Selena, 'You beat me to the altar'?" Taylor didn't even flinch. She laughed, shook her head, and answered with that familiar calm confidence that fans have come to love. "No," she said simply. "I did make a speech, but I actually made a point not to mention anything about my engagement. No one wants you to be like, 'Hey, I know this is your wedding day, but—'" She raised her hand mid-sentence, mimicking what it would look like to flash her ring. Then, laughing, she added, "I was like, don't mention it." That moment said more than any tabloid headline ever could. Here was one of the world's biggest stars, freshly engaged to NFL favorite Travis Kelce, and instead of turning her best friend's wedding into a global media circus, she consciously stepped back. It wasn't a press move. It wasn't damage control. It was genuine awareness, a rare thing in a world where fame usually demands the opposite. Taylor even joked about how she physically turned her ring around during the ceremony, saying, "Let me turn it away," as she twisted it to face inward. The audience laughed, but the gesture itself spoke volumes. It showed that, for Taylor, Selena's big day truly was Selena's, not a backdrop for her own fairy tale. She wanted no confusion, no comparison, no "who wore it better" headlines. Just her best friend, glowing in the moment she'd waited her whole life for. And that small act of humility, turning a diamond inward instead of outward, became one of the most talked about symbols of the night. But before that emotional symbolism, there was something even more relatable: laughter. Because when Taylor looked back on the early days of her friendship with Selena, she couldn't help but tease their 2008 selves, a fashion era that both of them will never forget. Before Taylor Swift was selling out stadiums, and before Selena Gomez was topping charts and producing hit shows, they were just two young girls figuring it all out, and their fashion choices definitely showed it. When Taylor talked about her speech on The Tonight Show, she couldn't resist laughing about the year they first met, 2008. "It was the year of deep, deep V-necks," she said, her voice dripping with nostalgia. "It was the year of aggressively colorful, skinny jeans." She painted a vivid picture of their teenage friendship, two rising stars navigating fame, love, and apparently, some very questionable outfit decisions. Selena's favorite outfit back then, Taylor joked, was a very long tank top, skinny jeans, and a tiny little vest. Then she laughed, adding, "I always looked like I was late for the cowboy-themed junior prom." The audience roared, but beneath the humor was something softer, a glimpse into the kind of friendship that only decades can build. The kind that survived evolving careers, public breakups, and the relentless scrutiny of fame. Because when Taylor mentioned those memories, she wasn't just cracking jokes. She was reminding everyone how far they've come together. From awkward red carpet poses and matching fringe to heartfelt wedding speeches and real grown-up love stories. It's easy to forget that these two didn't just share stages, they shared youth. They've celebrated wins, cried over heartbreaks, and stood by each other through every reinvention. Taylor's speech, filled with light teasing and laughter, wasn't about the past. It was about growth. She didn't need to make it about herself because, in a way, she already was part of the story. Not as the pop superstar everyone watches, but as the friend who's been there from the very first chapter. And when she called Selena the most elegant, gorgeous vision I've ever seen in my life, it wasn't flattery. It was the genuine awe of someone who's seen the entire journey from teenage dreams to wedding vows. Taylor Swift's speech wasn't just a stroll down memory lane. It was a celebration of Selena Gomez in all her brilliance. She described the bride as the most elegant, gorgeous, not only bride, but just vision that I've ever seen in my life. Those weren't empty words. Every syllable carried the weight of years spent watching her best friend grow, evolve, and shine. For Taylor, this wasn't a performance. It wasn't about headlines or cameras. It was about witnessing a moment she had quietly anticipated for years. She could have joked about her own engagement, flaunted her ring, or made a witty comparison, but she didn't. Because in that room, nothing mattered more than Selena's radiance. She went on to say she had never seen anything so beautiful as her on her wedding day, and you could tell she meant it. There was awe in her voice, a mix of love, pride, and the kind of admiration that only comes from truly knowing someone. It wasn't celebrity admiration. It was personal, intimate, and profoundly sincere. This moment mattered more than inserting herself into the story because Taylor understood the gravity of the day. Weddings aren't about status or fame. They're about love, commitment, and the sacred trust between friends who've shared life's ups and downs. By choosing to spotlight Selena entirely, Taylor turned what could have been a celebrity spectacle into a heartfelt, genuine tribute. Her admiration wasn't performative. It was poetic, grounded in years of friendship, and full of the kind of respect that can't be faked. And while Selena's day was all about her, Taylor couldn't help but reflect on her own journey too. A reminder that one day, her own love story would unfold, just as beautifully. Even as Taylor Swift devoted the spotlight to Selena Gomez, the world couldn't help but notice her own love story quietly unfolding. Since announcing her engagement to NFL star Travis Kelce on August 26, 2025, fans and tabloids alike have been buzzing about what this new chapter means, not just for her, but for every public appearance she makes. On The Tonight Show, Taylor laughed as she admitted how often she finds herself staring at her engagement ring. "I look at it constantly like it doesn't feel in any way normal for me," she said. That little gesture, turning it around during Selena's wedding, wasn't just humility. It was the tension of balancing her private joy with public expectation. Everyone wanted to see it, comment on it, and make comparisons, but Taylor chose discretion. She went on to describe Kelce to Jimmy Fallon as "my favorite person I've ever met." Simple words, but they carried immense weight. The statement wasn't for headlines. It was intimate, real, and unfiltered. The person I get to hang out with every day, forever. That's the whole thing of it. You look at it and you're like, I'm going to hang out with him forever. And this, her ring, represents that. Taylor's reflections tie together her past and present. From attending Selena's wedding with care, humor, and humility, to navigating her own engagement in the public eye, she's learning to merge private love with public scrutiny. She's aware of the pressures, yet she embraces the excitement and vulnerability that come with a new chapter. And fans can't help but speculate. If Taylor's heart is fully committed to Kelce now, how soon will her own fairy tale unfold in a similarly spectacular fashion? For now, she's content to honor her friend's milestones while quietly enjoying her own journey toward forever. Once Taylor's Tonight Show appearance aired, social media exploded. Fans dissected every word, every laugh, and yes, even that tiny ring gesture. Threads appeared on Twitter and Instagram, with thousands debating whether Taylor's careful restraint was a hint about her own future. Rumors immediately started swirling. Some fans suggested that by keeping her engagement under wraps at Selena's wedding, Taylor was building suspense for her own big day. Others speculated that her thoughtful approach signaled she's planning a private, intimate ceremony, away from the glare of the media. Could her wedding be coming soon? One popular fan tweet asked. Another read, she's basically previewing what her wedding vibe will be: classy, low-key, all about love, not headlines. Of course, none of these claims are confirmed. They're pure speculation, but the buzz highlights how deeply fans connect with Taylor's personal milestones. And then there were the discussions about her friendship with Selena. Many viewers praised Taylor for being the ultimate supportive friend, placing someone else's happiness above the curiosity of millions. The general sentiment? Taylor didn't just give a speech. She set an example of how fame can coexist with genuine loyalty. The fan theories continue to grow, fueled by every subtle detail. The way she laughed, the way she reminisced about 2008, even the way she turned her ring inward. It's a reminder that with Taylor Swift, every gesture can spark conversation, and every appearance can ignite waves of speculation. Yet amid the chatter, one thing remains clear. Taylor Swift knows how to command attention without ever making it about herself, a skill that keeps fans endlessly intrigued and invested. Taylor Swift's appearance at Selena Gomez's wedding wasn't just a speech. It was a masterclass in tact, humility, and loyalty. While rumors suggested she might steal the spotlight, she did the exact opposite, turning her ring away, avoiding any mention of her engagement, and keeping the focus entirely on her best friend. It was a delicate balancing act, one that required both self-awareness and a deep respect for the moment. This moment makes us pause and think. In a world where public image often overshadows private feelings, Taylor showed that you can honor friendship without turning it into content. She reminded everyone that loyalty and love don't always need an audience. Sometimes, the most meaningful gestures are the ones made quietly, intentionally, and from the heart. And while fans will continue to speculate about her own wedding and future milestones, the lesson here is clear. Taylor's choice to step back and let Selena shine is a reminder that grace, discretion, and respect often speak louder than any headline ever could. What do you think about how Taylor handled this tricky situation? Did she set a new standard for friendship in the public eye? Or is it just another moment for fans to dissect? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts.